Sons of Anarchy, Season 7, Episode 5 is over, but we're just getting started here on Sons of Anarchy Live here on PostShowRecaps.com. And now, here are the two guys who are always we're going to take care of all the people, right? Right, Josh? We're going to take care of the people?
You're responsible for everybody. I'm just hanging out, holding a hammer, and protecting my little brother.
Yes, I'm going to take care of everybody. I
want to go home.
I want to go home. I'm tired of hanging out with these porn stars. I'm 5.
Nobody ever.
I'm sorry, Tommy. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Hey, well, it's good. It looks like you are home, Rob. It looks like you've gotten home since last we spoke.
Yes, I'm back. I'm back, baby. Yes, and so I am after a long week in New York. We celebrated my son's birthday. We had some live podcasts on robhasawebsite.com. So it was a very, very fun week. Got to see Josh Wigler in person 1 week ago tomorrow.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a great night.
Yes, and a very, very fun night. Got to see a lot of people from the RHAP universe, but we are ready to talk about a very big night of Sons of Anarchy, and the plot is really starting to thicken.
The plot has thickened. Yeah, the juice is getting pulpy. It's really happening. Juice is loose, and Gemma's in trouble. So yeah, it was a big night for the show.
Yeah, we had a murder, some intrigue, lots of stuff going on with
we almost
Lynn.
had a musical number with a flute.
Yes, that would have been an impressive musical number.
Yeah, unlike anything we'd seen. It's interesting. That was something I was thinking about for the Throners a few weeks ago, but we didn't pull that out. We didn't pull out that flute trick.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll talk about everything that happened here tonight. First, let's introduce you guys. Of course, we're live here on Tuesday night. Typically, we're going to do this show on Wednesday morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, the rest of the way. But Josh has a flight to catch tomorrow, so we are going to do tonight's show live on Tuesday night. But we'll be on Wednesday mornings the rest of the way, and then back on Tuesday, I think, on finale night in about, 7 weeks from now?
Yeah, it's going to be right around there. I think they're going to take a break somewhere around Thanksgiving. So it'll be sometime in December, but yeah, we'll definitely be live right after that episode.
Okay, so that's going to be a huge night. Of course, you're here with us live in the chat room on postshowrecaps.com, plus Scott St. Pierre is monitoring Twitter. Our hashtag is PSRecaps. We'll take your tweets during the show and answer your questions and comments, and also on our YouTube channel at postshowrecaps.com/YouTube. Of course, you can help us get the word out about this show by going to our page on iTunes and giving us some feedback ratings for our Sons podcast, which is at postshowrecaps.com/Sons iTunes. And, of course, Josh, we're very pumped up for Sunday night when the return of Walking Dead Live comes back Sunday night.
Oh, my God, can you believe it? We're coming back. Season 5. Here we go. And did you hear, Rob, Season 6 of The Walking Dead just got renewed today.
Oh, my God.
So we're going to be in the zombie killing business for quite a while, I think.
Good. Well, I'm pumped up because really not since the end of Game of Thrones. We did like months and months straight of Sunday night podcasts talking about these shows, and I think we'll get back into the swing of things this Sunday night.
Yeah, and I haven't seen The Walking Dead season premiere, but if I have, hypothetically, it's pretty good.
Okay, hypothetically. Very good. All right, so let's talk about a very good episode of the Sons of Anarchy tonight. And our top story at this hour, we had another time Gemma's car goes off the road. Boy, Gemma's car seems to, if Gemma's driving at night, nothing good ever happens.
The last time Gemma crashed her car was because she was inebriated, right?
Yeah, she was like all high. She was like smoking pot with Unser. And then
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
And she had Abel in the car, or was it Thomas in the car?
She had Abel in the car.
What's worse, driving intoxicated and crashing your car, or driving with the intention of murdering your passenger and then crashing your car?
Yeah, I feel like things just sort of went haywire here. I mean, she was like falling asleep at the wheel. That's really depends. That's a judgment call. I'd say I almost feel like the being all high and crashing the car with a kid in the car is worse.
This wasn't very good, though.
This wasn't very good. So, Josh, can you just talk me through what was Gemma's plan here?
I think Gemma's plan was to just Well, I was going to make a Sopranos reference and how it connects to a certain other character on this show, but I don't want to do that. But I feel like she was going to take Juice out to the middle of nowhere and just, show him some bullets. I think she was gonna kill him.
Like, I mean, I don't really get it because let's say that she stops in the middle of nowhere and it's like, all right, Juice, get out. Nero is right around that tree right over there. So just go over and go look for Nero.
I think it could be something like she pulls into some clearing and says, "All right, Nero should be here in like 5 minutes. You want to get outside and have a smoke break?" And he gets out and then blam blow, you're done. You're dead.
Yeah.
That's how I would do it.
That's whoa! I'm never going for getting a ride from Josh Wigler.
Oh man! Next time you're in town, Rob, let's go for a stroll.
No.
Let's go for a drive.
No, I don't want to go smoke cigarettes with you, Josh.
Final ride.
Yeah. So anyway, so Juice ends up picking up on this, and so of course, that Gemma makes the mistake of bringing up Nero and how Nero is going to help us, and Juice knows that Nero would not help him out.
Yeah, amateur hour. She really, I mean, how is she going to know? She doesn't know the whole history between Juice and Nero, but I feel like, couldn't Gemma have played that a little bit better? Even after she's caught in the lie, couldn't she have been like, oh man, so wait, does that mean Nero, who's totally coming here to kill you, he's coming here to kill you? That's why Nero wants to help out? Oh God, let's get you out of here real quick. Why does she have to be like, oh yeah, you busted me, I am about to kill you here?
Yeah. So what's she gonna do? Is she gonna like shoot him while she's driving?
That's what it seems like she's trying to do. Yeah, she's like, she reaches for the gun.
If she's willing to do that, why not shoot him while he's sleeping?
Yeah, I also didn't like how she was just kind of like playing with the gun while he was sleeping right next to her. Like, probably don't do that. You should probably have that set up already. Kind of like, what if he just like opens one eye, or what if he's not sleeping very deeply? Probably not a good plan, Jem.
Yeah. And also, Juice he's definitely on edge. We saw him just kill a guy who he thought was one of the people from the
oh my God,
from the Triad.
What a train wreck. That was absurd. Again, it's Sons of Anarchy, never dull. Something is always happening. Somebody, at the very least, on your worst episode of Sons of Anarchy, is going to get shot in the face 1,000,000 times. That's really Juice's move, too. Isn't that how he killed Miles back in Season 4? Is he just Uzi'd that guy in the face, and now he has shot this poor motel worker in the face like 100 times. Do you think that in all of the previous Leons going forward, we're gonna see that moment replayed over and over again?
Like the Miles thing?
Yeah, that was like the go-to move for Sons of Anarchy Season 4.
Yeah, with the guy at the hotel, I feel like he really did not play this right at all.
What should he have done?
I think that, and I watched this part, I wanted to make sure I had this right. So Juice sees the guy on the street, and then the guy like chases Juice up to the room, and it like knocks on the door, and then Juice just doesn't say anything, and the guy should be like, "Hey, I'm the manager. Did you pay rent for today? Because like
I think that you didn't pay for this room, so if you could come out and come to the front desk and pay for this, that would be great.
Yeah.
Please."
And then when he comes in with the keys, you should be like,
hello?
Like, hey, Juice, it's me, the manager.
Juan Carlos, are you there?
Yes. Are you there?
Yeah, no, he said nothing. That was a mistake. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, he was pretty shady, that guy.
He probably should have. What if he doesn't speak English? Well, I guess he says hey.
Yeah.
What if that's the only word he knows?
Like, hey. Hey. He could be like Hodor. He's like the Hodor of today.
Hador?
Hey, Hador. Okay, so let's go back to Juice and Gemma. So I felt like it was a little bit of a cop-out for where they stopped this episode. I feel like this is not typically how Sons of Anarchy operates. I know surely they have done stuff like this in the past, but I feel like for the most part, they take you to a place where you reach a conclusion, and then we sort of like, then next week pick up with the fallout from what just happened at the end of the episode. Did you feel like this was out of character for the show to end at this sort of a stalemate?
I don't think it was necessarily out of character. I think that sometimes Sons does this, where they really dangle the cliffhanger in front of you. Certainly, it's a big one. The question out there is Juice going to be able to pull the trigger on Gemma? I would say no. I mean, maybe he's capable of doing it, but I don't think he'll succeed. You and I talked about this last week, Rob. This isn't how Gemma goes. I don't think Juice gets to pull the trigger on Gemma. I think Gemma has to have some sort of face-off with Jax. So I don't love the ending because I feel like however it shakes out next, one of the conclusions is really easy to already write off, which is Juice is not going to kill Gemma. No way. No chance.
So how does this end up? Like, is it the same thing as with Unser a couple of weeks ago? Is Juice going to take Gemma prisoner, and then is he going to rat her out to Jax and then ultimately let her go, or she's going to escape?
That's interesting. I was going to say, yeah, he's probably just going to, keep her in the trunk of the car overnight and then let her out the next day, because that's also one of Juice's moves. But that's an interesting point. Is he now going to look at this whole mess and say, our lie that the Lynn Triad was responsible for Tara's murder, when you and I know who's really responsible, just got 16 innocent people killed. We've gone too far. Enough is enough. I'm taking you to Jackson. I'm telling him everything, and consequences be damned. That's an interesting possibility. Whether or not it completely plays out that way, I would probably guess no. That seems a little too neat for this early into the season. Although we are getting just about to the halfway mark here.
So what could Juice potentially do? Like, let's say he did tie up Gemma, take her in the car, although, they're kind of disabled, right? The car got crashed off the road, right? Who's going to come pick them up? Unser?
AAA. But maybe Unser. Unser's here to help, right? Unser's always here to help.
I mean, aren't they like 4 or 5 hours away from Stockton or wherever they were?
Well, they were driving south. They were not going towards Oregon. I know that much.
Yeah. So I don't know where they were headed to ultimately, but it feels like, it's going to be tough to get back to where they need to be. Could we see some sort of like a, Gemma and Juice on the road, like trying to hitch a ride back?
No, I don't know about
Uber
that.
it?
Yeah, call Uber. That would work. Also, why not just drive? Like, if Gemma's going to kill Juice, why does she have to not drive toward Oregon? Shouldn't she just stick to the plan and just shoot him in like a forest in Oregon rather than, veer completely off the path and make him feel all suspicious about what's going on here?
It's a good point. No need to overthink this.
Why is like the desert in California better than, the forest closer to where you're telling Juice you're going to go anyway?
Yeah, and Josh, it seems like you've really thought this through.
I've been thinking about this a little bit, Rob. I'm just, I'm thinking about new careers and stuff, so.
Yeah. And didn't you just visit the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, I was just in Oregon, so I guess I'm really, I was there like 2 days ago, so I'm really thinking about this now. While I was out there, I was just thinking about all the different ways I could, I don't know. I don't want to reveal too much.
Okay. Yeah. So who do you think the next phone call that, assuming that we see Juice live, who do you think the next person Juice will call will be?
He likes to call Chibs.
He's gonna call Chibs and be like,
"Yeah,
Chibs, guess what? I've got Gemma here."
It'd be interesting to see Juice call somebody from the Suns and tell them what's really going on. And now that person's dilemma is: do I trust what Juice is telling me? Is he just screwing with me? That could be fun. I could see that. I don't really know who Juice calls. I don't think Juice knows who Juice calls. I really don't think Juice knows what the hell he's doing. I think that's pretty clear at this point.
I think he gets Unser back involved.
Yeah, I was a little worried for Unser tonight. I'm really on edge with Unser these days. When Unser is questioning Gemma about, why is Juice afraid of the Chinese, and why is Juice saying we did this? I really thought Gemma was just gonna be like, and then just shoot Unser. I was very worried about that. Or once they left and he calls up the cop after he hangs up with the cop, I thought someone was going to come in and shoot Unser. I'm just constantly afraid for my man Unser now.
Yeah, Unser really has become the cleaner of all this stuff. Anytime the Suns murder anybody, he's there.
He's the wolf.
Yeah, he comes in and cleans it up. I mean, for Juice, I know Unser has gone this far, but why is Unser really getting involved with helping with hiding the body of this innocent person that got killed?
Don't ask me, man, because I have no idea why Unser is cleaning up this body at the motel. I think that, wash your hands of this one and just get the hell out of there. I don't think Unser has any real good reason to be sticking around in Juice's motel room. This seems like a little too much. There's helping, and then there's just being an idiot. And I think he's kind of being an idiot by sticking around.
Like, I get it that Unser is friends with Juice, but, I mean, this is a pretty solid favor that Unser is doing here for Juice.
Yeah, and it's also interesting because, I think Unser's been helping Juice because he likes Juice, he feels sorry for Juice, he feels connected to the Sons, he doesn't want to see a guy like Juice die, but Juice has just killed this completely innocent guy for no reason other than pure paranoia, and, I think it's enough to get Unser, between that and the Diosa massacre, I think it's enough to get Unser to call Jerry and give her the information about the Triad and the Sons, suspecting them of killing Tara. So, that's sort of the breaking point, but I don't understand why he doesn't just wash his hands of the whole dead body in the bathtub. I think that's a little too far. Is it because he's the guy who showed up and paid for the room? So maybe...
He's on his credit card?
Yeah, was he? I hope he was paying cash. I hope that he was smart enough to do that. But, he showed his face at the front desk. Maybe he's... if a dead body winds up in that motel room, he's going to be the guy who gets blamed for that. So that's the only thing I can think of, but a little questionable, Unser. I don't know.
Jason Burning in the chat room says, Unser knows he would be effed because it's aiding and abetting, and he'd be screwing himself.
Isn't he doing that anyway?
I don't know.
He's aiding and abetting right now.
He's very aided and abetted many things.
Yes, over the years, he really is. He really has.
He certainly has. Okay, let's talk about what went on with Jax and Lynn and the Triad and all of this stuff. So let's start with the decision for Lynn to go to Nero and go ahead and tell him, like, hey, look, Jax is up to no good, and you bring us Jax or we're going to kill your kid.
Yeah, well, I think that's not a bad move. Do you question the move?
I think that was a smart move.
I think it was a smart move. I would say the smarter move would be to just kill Jax. But they tried that. They threw the grenade into Scoops the other night. Last week in last week's episode. So that was Plan A, and Plan A failed. So this is not a bad Plan B. Is to go to Nero and say, you have access to Jax, I have access to your kid, make this happen, make this right. So I think it's a good play on Lynn's part.
So were you surprised with what Nero ultimately decided to do?
Yeah, I was. I kind of was. I'm surprised because, Jax is, not being straight with Nero this whole time is a big, huge part of why 16 people are dead at Diosa. Why one of the biggest massacres, the biggest massacre in Charming, according to Jerry. That's on him. That's on him. That's on Gemma, unknown to a lot of people. People don't know that Gemma is really the person who kind of put this, snowball down the hill. But Jax is very, very responsible. And so for Nero to decide that his history with Jax and with Gemma, this kind of new family that he's creating with them, is more important than just staying the hell out of it. I was kind of surprised, I have to say.
So did you get faked out with ultimately what the plan was?
No, I wasn't. I don't know if they really wanted the revelation that Jax was playing the Triad and was going to ambush the Triad to be a surprise. I think they could have hidden that from us a little bit better. I think, not showing us like all the phone calls and like Tig being so happy at, the Redwoody office and them like kind of wheeling and dealing over there. And then, Nero going and talking to Lynn one scene after Nero had said to Jax, we got to talk, and you don't get to see that conversation. I think it's, it's pretty clear from watching almost 7 full seasons of Sons of Anarchy now that some typical Sam Crow hijinks were in effect.
Yeah. I think that if I was in, one of these groups, whether it was the Mayans or the Niners or the Suns or the Triad, I think I would basically have like red shirt guys conduct any sort of deal. Like I would never actually go to anything. I would be sort of like remember on Arrested Development when they had like Super Dave Osborne like walk
Yes,
around with like the camera.
surrogates.
Yes, yes. I think that's what I would do for any sort of business transaction because it's always a trick.
Yeah, I think Sam Crow could really invest in the surrogate business model. I think would be good.
That would be good. And so you knew Nero wasn't gonna flip on the Suns, right?
Yeah, I think once that sort of once those wheels are in motion, once Nero comes to Lynn and says Jax is going to shoot you up at the warehouse and all of that, once he starts saying that to Lynn, and we haven't seen that conversation between Nero and Jax, you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. The question now is, did Nero make the right call? Because Jax didn't get to see his vengeance plan all the way through. The party got broken up before he could pull the trigger.
Yeah, so we had sort of like a crazy situation where the cops, after Unser called into Jerry, were supposed to be trailing Lynn, but I don't really understand how they're trailing him when they're like, they were nowhere near where Lynn was. Like, the cops that were sent over by Baraski, they were the guys that ultimately pulled over Lynn, and then the guys who were supposed to be trailing Lynn were like, 20 minutes behind everybody else.
It's a big delay. Big delay. Yeah, I don't know. Big delay.
Yeah. And so ultimately, when the Baraski guys end up pulling over Lynn and his people, like they put everybody up against the fence, and then Jax comes in and he does sort of like the Scooby-Doo ending of like, hey Lynn, like you would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for these cops and Nero. If it wasn't for Nero, and he told us everything, and then also you really blew up Nero's spot there.
Well, I think, Jax had this fantasy in mind of, this, he tells this to jury and therefore to the audience. He tells us back in episode 2, I think, of this season, I'm going to strip away all of Lynn's friends. I'm going to, make him super paranoid. I'm going to be his only friend left. And then, right when he trusts me the most, I'm going to reveal myself to be the traitor, and I'm going to slowly torture and kill everybody he loves, and then I'm going to kill him. So he had this really vivid revenge fantasy in mind, and now he kind of has to fast forward that fantasy because circumstances have forced his hand that he can't do this drawn-out vengeance plan that he wanted, but he still can have this moment in the spotlight that I think that he had probably rehearsed in his mind a little bit. I think he had an idea of what he wanted to do here with Henry Lynn, and he gets to do it here. And yeah, he outs Nero in the process. He says, Nero is the one who totally, got you convinced that we were going to do this thing, and now we've got you, and it's awesome. And he's even like kind of laughing at him, like maniacal laughs as they're, have their little like trial by combat moment. So I don't know. Jax is a little bit over the edge at this point. He's gone a little bit overboard.
So Josh, in your mind, was it Jury that was the one that told Lynn about how the Suns hit up their guns and drug shipment?
I think Jury is absolutely involved. Whether or not he's the only one who has betrayed Sam Crow, I think, is a question worth asking. I think Jury has definitely betrayed Sam Crow. No question about it. I think this guy that RoboCop kills, that Borowski kills, what was his name? Desmond or something?
Desmond brother.
Yeah, Desmond brother. Whoever it was, this guy with a bolt in his head now. Do you think that's the end of that, or do you think RoboCop is involved?
Well, I'd like to come back to that if we could, because I have some thoughts on that. But going back to what you brought up about Jury and talking about how he was the one that Jax told him the whole plan, isn't that very odd that Jury left out the part when he told Lynn about how the Suns hit up the shipment, about how Jax has a whole revenge fantasy against Lynn?
That's a good point. I don't know why he would leave that out unless Jury has his own specific plans for Jax as well. If part of Jury's plan is to get Henry Lynn to bring in Jax so that Jury can get some vengeance of his own. I don't know. That could be a possibility. But that's a very good point, Rob. That's something I hadn't considered.
Okay, and what did you think about the hand-to-hand combat that ends up happening between Jax and Lynn? I also thought that Lynn does a bad job of being like hey, Jax, just so you know, for the record, like, I did not kill your wife. He says it once,
Yeah, he
but
says he says I had nothing to do with killing your old lady, but it's not very
it's
convincing.
not very convincing, and he does not say, but seriously, in all seriousness, Jax, like, no BS here.
Well, I think that he does. I mean, that's not going to get bought anyway. He's not going to be able to sell that line, and I think it doesn't even matter at this point to Henry Wynn. Their bad blood is so deep at this point that that's not going to stop whatever conflict has been started between these two.
Okay. All right, let's go to Baraski and let's talk about this scene because this was very, very odd. I've seen a couple of the guys in the chat room talk about this. I definitely wrote it down in my notes. So when they go see Desmond from the pawn shop, Baraski is somebody who we definitely have some suspicions about already. And they go see the guy and they're asking him about what happened. And of course, there's the very funny thing that happens with Tig where he gets out the flute and he wants to.
He wants to sing a song. He wants to play a song for us.
Yes. He wants to show Desmond, and Desmond is not into that idea.
No, Venus has taught Tig a trick or two with that flute, I think. Venus is a good instructor.
Yeah, and so eventually it comes out that somebody called up this guy Desmond and offered him $2,000 not to go by the port last night.
Yeah, just to look the other way.
Okay, and then when Baraski starts asking him questions, and who was this person? Somebody that you don't know just called you up. How did they get your number? And
yeah, that's an important detail too. That it was his personal cell that somebody called him on.
And then Baraski ultimately just pops the guy and is like, "Yeah, I was tired of it's hard to find people you could trust."
Yeah, and I mean, if that's not just like coming out and looking at the camera and just wink, 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 and twirling your mustache, I don't know what is. I think. That to me is a pretty clear sign that Borowski has. I think he's turned on Sam Crow.
Okay, so what do you think though? I mean, he was asking some pretty pointed questions and then shot the guy. I know Borowski is good. Do you think that he would be asking the guy, and how did he get your phone number if Borowski is the one who gave the phone number?
Well, I think that he rushes the conversation. Think about the escalation of that moment. It's actually it really kind of comes out of nowhere. They're getting answers from this guy. He's probably got more that he can say, and Borowski kind of like changes the tone of the conversation, being like, "You lied to me. I can't trust you. I didn't lie to you. You can trust me." And then he just shoots him in the head. It's very quick. It happens very fast, and I think that he is cutting this guy off before he can say too much. And I don't even know that this guy necessarily knows that Borowski is the guy who reached out to him or gave his personal cell number to the Triad or anything like that. But there could be information that this guy could give up that could point things back to Borowski. So I think that he needs to start covering his ass here, and this is certainly one way to do it.
Yeah. I felt like when they were talking about that they were paid $5,000 to get the cops from Borowski, I felt like the Sun seemed a little suspicious of Borowski in that moment. Am I reading too much into things?
I don't know that. I'm not getting that read. I think that they trust him insofar as he's like a total mercenary and that they've been good for him business-wise. So I don't know that they're looking at him as a possible enemy right now. Yeah. I think that they think he's on the level.
Of course, Borowski found out about Colette, and he took the news pretty well.
He's pretty chill about it. He was pretty okay. He says, she was a good girl. That sucks.
Yeah, that does suck, because you would think that Borowski doesn't have, a lot of, women that he's seeing.
And, he's pretty calm when the Triad shows up to interrogate Nero. He says, not my war, amigo, so seemingly removing himself from the equation, but he's really just kind of, whatever, I'll be in the back cutting meat. This, I feel like this is coming from a guy who maybe feels a little more secure in his position than he's letting on.
So who does Borowski have allegiance to?
Well, I think he has allegiance to himself, first and foremost. I think this is a guy who looks out for number one, but I don't know. I could see him having linked up with the Triad and the Mayans, even though things looked like they were kind of tense between the Mayans and Borowski. Who knows what's happened off camera. Who knows what kind of bridges they've been able to cross together.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
But I don't know how that's going to shake out. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm very suspicious of him. I think that just the suddenness with which he kills this guy at the pawn shop, you really got to look at that, and you got to think that there's something more than meets the eye here. So I would not trust RoboCop these days. I think that he has broken the outlaw law.
Yeah, I think so. I think at some point he's going to be revealed to be that he turned on them and he's working with somebody, whether it's Marx, whether it's the Mayans or somebody, but at some point that they're going to have to kill this guy.
Oh, yeah. No, he doesn't survive.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, yeah. And that'll be fun.
That'll be great.
That'll be fun. We talked about it at the top of the show, but we had at least a conversation tonight with Jax and Abel, and then later on with Abel and Gemma. And there was this idea of, I have to protect everybody. I have to take care of everybody. Where do you think this ultimately is going?
In terms of Jax's relationship with Abel, I mean, there's been a lot more focus on Abel this season than in the past, I think. Certainly since he's been a speaking part.
Yes, but I feel like we're laying track for something, and something's going to happen with Abel this season. And
well, yeah.
What do you think it ultimately is going to be?
Well, I wonder the direction with it. Certainly Abel is an important character to the mythology of Sons. The very first episode of this series is about the birth of Abel, and Abel, struggling to make it through, the process of being born. And it's a very dramatic moment. Could we see a mirror image where Abel is dying in one of the final episodes of this season? It's certainly possible. I also wonder if it's really just reinforcing kind of the full circle nature, the cyclical nature of Jax dealing with his daddy issues at the top of the series, kind of reconciling the history that JT, brought to the table, the fact that he's gone, that he's dead, and what did he stand for, and Jax discovering those letters and having kind of this relationship with the ghost of his father, while also trying to reconcile those thoughts with where Clay is taking the club, where his stepfather is bringing things. And now Jax is the king, and Abel is the one who has to kind of reconcile these thoughts of being, a good kid, just being a kid, and also being somebody who realizes that maybe his daddy is into some bad stuff. Maybe his daddy hurts people. So I think that maybe it's just as simple as that's kind of just, a full circle theme of the series of, the son realizing that their father or their father figure isn't exactly who they thought that person was. Or it could mean that something really horrible is going to happen to Abel. It could go in many directions. Or Abel might save Jax by hammering all of the Lynn Triad and the Mayans. He seemed pretty dangerous with that thing.
Well, I feel like there's some sort of a theme here of, we have to protect people, and we saw Abel with the hammer, banging the hammer on stuff. He seems to have a little bit of like a violent side. Do you think at some point we will see Abel getting his hands on a gun?
Oh, man. Well, it wouldn't be the first time a kid has gotten their hands on a gun on Sons of Anarchy.
It would not be the first time. Could you potentially seeing Abel being the one who shoots Gemma?
Oh, my God. Well, that would be crazy. That would be wild. I don't know. I don't know what sort of circumstances would have to allow for something like that. Maybe he would have to be a witness to, like, Gemma trying to kill Jax or something like that. It would have to be. Yeah. It would have to be that Gemma is threatening Jax. It would have to be that Gemma is threatening, Thomas or someone like that. It has to be Thomas or Jax probably, and Abel would step up there. But how Abel loves his grandma. So what would it take for Abel to turn a gun or turn a weapon on Gemma? I don't know. But that's an interesting idea, Rob.
She killed Mommy.
She killed Mommy, but is he, mature enough to understand that concept? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that would be sort of an interesting way for this to ultimately go, because something is coming with this stuff. Like we're getting a lot this season of, Abel is a little bit off. And I don't think they'd be showing us all these scenes for no reason. Something is coming down the pike with Abel.
Is there any way that there's like some sort of flash forward, like towards the end of the season in like a final episode or something where Gemma has gotten rid of Jax, she's still surviving, and she's taken care of Abel, and Abel as an older guy finds out the truth, sort of how Jax found out what Clay did to his father, and maybe we'll find out what Gemma did to his father. Could we see something like that, or do you think that's off the table?
I think that's kind of off the table. That just doesn't seem like that's this show.
You don't think that we could see like that young Abel actor in like old age makeup?
I feel like on a show where you're going to do flash forwards, I think you need to first establish flashbacks, and that's not.
You wouldn't want to see like the world of Sons of Anarchy 20 years from now with like hover bikes?
I mean, that would be very exciting. Self-driving Google bikes, I think that would be fantastic.
That'd be good. Unser would still be alive. He'd be like a floating head like Futurama.
Yeah, that would be great. But I don't think we're going to see a flash forward.
Well, we'll see. I think that you've thrown out a pretty interesting idea about Abel being the one who takes Gemma out. I don't know how that would manifest. A lot of things would have to happen for that to really be believable. But it's a cool idea.
Yeah, interesting. I'll write that in my Sons of Anarchy fan fiction.
Yes, awesome. I can't wait to read it.
Yes, I know you're a fan of some of my Sons of Anarchy fan fiction. I know that you really appreciated the Tig. I finished the Tig and Venus scene from last week.
Did you finish that?
Yes. That's in your inbox.
I don't think that it's going to be appropriate to post on post-show recaps.
Probably not.
Probably
do you think
not.
We'll see Venus again this season?
Oh yeah, of course, have to. I don't think that's it for Venus.
Will we see Venus again this season beyond a montage?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think that you get Walton Goggins and all of that makeup just for a montage. I think that you got to give him some pretty good speaking parts, and I think that that's the beauty of Venus is you have an actor like Walton Goggins who's just so good with dialogue. That's an actor that you really want to write some really delicious dialogue for, and as Venus, he really tends to knock it out of the park. So yeah, you got to have Venus back, and it's got to be a speaking part. What I was surprised by, are you surprised by how well Tig has bounced back from being shot in the gut?
Oh yeah, it wasn't even a thing tonight.
Oh, Tig's a badass. He's good.
And we don't even have Tara around to help people out.
Who's the doctor now?
The power of love. It's Tig. It's Venus.
Oh man, Tinas is strong.
Tinas is strong. Let's bounce around to a couple things before we get to some of your questions. Again, you could send them in on our YouTube channel at postshowrecaps.com/YouTube or on Twitter, hashtag PS Recaps, or I'm sure we could even get them in the chat room as well here tonight. So a couple of quick things. I thought that a sweet moment between Chucky and was it with Jax that he says that hey, you guys are my family.
Yeah, Jack's like, Chucky, thank you so much for everything. And Chucky goes, you're my family, and that was very sweet.
That was very, very sweet.
It's like, hey, you're my family. You gave me these sweet wooden fingers.
We got to see Lila tonight. Lila is a little concerned about why does this stuff keep happening?
I know. Well, Lila has been through a lot. And Lila also knows that, if she hadn't been in post-production at Redwoody, she would not be alive anymore. And that would just be another horrible layer of tragedy for the Winston family. So I'm glad that Lila's okay. I will be very upset if anything ever happens to Lila. I don't think I could handle that.
I wouldn't be that upset.
I would be very upset. Everything that's happened in like the Opie world has been so horrible. I feel like Opie's kids at least deserve to have something remotely resembling, a mother figure in their life.
Okay. How about when we had a little bit of Team Jibs tonight, where Jarry and Chibs, one, we got to see a little bit of the romance time afterwards. Have we seen Chibs' tattoo before?
I can't remember if we've seen shirtless Chibs before. Didn't he have a love interest back in season 3, was it?
It was like his ex-wife.
It was his ex-wife. Did he ever get shirtless in season 3?
I don't think so, because I don't think they had like a sex scene.
Yet another reason why season 3 sucks.
Yeah.
No shirtless Chibs.
What do you have? Like a big dollar sign tattoo? Or a big dollar bill?
Yeah, he's into those greenbacks.
Was that the new $5 bill from Burger King?
Yeah, I think so. Chibs is a fan.
They're trying to make that the new $5 bill,
Is that true?
Yeah, that's true.
Do you think it'll work?
I think so. I think
Oh my God.
it should work. Anyway, so we had a really really interesting scene of talking about like hey, you gotta like slow down with this. We need you guys to basically like cover us on this. And she's like, I can't do that. And he's like, well, what do you need more money? And she's like,
Yeah.
it's not for the money.
Well, you get a little bit more of her philosophy of it was something that we've talked about before, Rob, about how we were both kind of surprised at how crooked of a cop Jerry is. She kind of came off very straight and narrow, and then she accepts a bribe from Chibs, and then she starts flirting with Chibs, and now she's crossed the line from flirting to just flat out boning Chibs, and kissing him in broad daylight outside in public. So she's an interesting character, and I thought her philosophy on why she accepts the money, because the bad guys aren't going anywhere. She needs to work with the bad guys to keep the peace. Taking the money makes them feel safer, makes them feel a sense of trust with her, and it pays for her overtime. So she's got kind of this pragmatic view of how she's doing things. She's an interesting character. She's unlike any of the law enforcement people we've seen on this show before. So I think she's interesting, and I'm starting to roll with the romance with Chibs. I feel like it's a little fast, but I believe in love at first sight, Rob.
I like it. I'm shipping it, Josh.
I'm shipping it too. I hope it works out for these two.
I'm hoping it works out. What do you think of tonight's montage? Age of Aquarius.
That was good. That was fun. I still think Bohemian Rhapsody in first position, but this was a close second.
Yeah, it was good.
It was good. I thought that was fun, and once it got to the whole like "Let the Sun Shine" part with the car crashing, that was fun.
Yeah, that was very good. Juice still shaving his head though.
Still shaving his head. Might want to stop doing that, Juice.
Yeah.
Like we said, just go like full like afro would be great.
What was the candy bar Juice got?
I didn't see what candy bar he got. I should have paid closer attention. An Apollo bar, perhaps?
Maybe. It would have been interesting to see exactly what Juice was getting, because you probably don't want something too much chocolate in the outdoor vending machine. Probably a little melty.
What's the move in the outdoor vending machine?
Payday.
You want a payday? Do you ever want a payday?
Yeah, payday is pretty good.
I'm not a fan of the payday.
Yeah, and it's not going to be melty.
Yeah, but it's just going to be a payday.
It's good.
It's still going to be a payday, Rob.
I like a payday. I feel like don't feel like a total like waste of life eating a payday, because I feel like it's healthy. Usually all these peanuts.
I don't know. Sheriff Jerry is very into paydays.
Have we talked about what is it too much that we have a Jerry and Jury this season?
It's a lot. It's a lot. Maybe they could have done a different name for Jerry, because Jury already existed. Jerry, Jury, Jury, Jerry, Jerry, Jury.
Yeah.
We just need a Jerry, and then we'll be all set. Maybe from Parks and Rec would be great. Bring that guy in.
He went to Jerry.
Although I guess he's technically Gary.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and let's bring in some questions here from you guys, talking about Sons of Anarchy episode number 5 for this season. Scott, I see the question, but I also see your face superimposed on it. Josh, are you seeing that also?
I am, but I can see the question,
Okay,
and it's from Mark Solera, and it says, "Am I the only person?" Oh, it's disappeared. The question is gone. I can't see the question anymore.
The question is gone.
The question has disappeared.
Yeah, Scott, maybe you could just post them in the chat, and we could fire through them as well.
I want to just keep talking about paydays. I'm surprised at your fandom for paydays, Rob.
I mean, I'm not a crazy payday guy. You got some peanuts, you got some nougat. I'm not a huge nougat guy.
That surprises me. I always pegged you as a Three Musketeers man.
No. That's the peanuts make the payday. The Three Musketeers is just chocolate and nougat.
What candy bar do you think Bobby Elvis is into?
Oh, probably something decadent. He looks like a Snickers guy.
He likes the bananas and peanut butter and bacon like his man Elvis.
Yeah.
I think that tends to be his thing.
All right. Here's the first question that I'm not sure who the author is on this one. The question is, am I the only one who thinks that the episode title sounds like a porno that they would shoot on Sons of Anarchy? What was the name of this episode
Oh,
tonight?
it was called Some Strange Eruption.
Yeah. Now, was that line said in the episode?
No, I don't believe so.
So what was the strange eruption?
Um, I think you could point to a few things. I think you could point to a few eruptions of anger. Abel kind of acting strange and grabbing the hammer and protecting his brother. I think that's one.
If that's the case, and they're naming an episode after that, then that is even more significance on the Abel Hammer situation.
Well, I think that's one read. I think you could read the whole Juice thing and how he's finally cracked. He just killed a guy for really no reason. So I think that you can point to people just sort of the walls are closing in on a lot of these people and have been all season long, and now people are starting to kind of break out of these prison cells that they've created for themselves, and I think that they're going to find on the outside of these walls it's just even worse.
Okay. Here's another question. This is from Jack J. He says, if you take out all the Abel BS, this episode was very good. If you watch the previews, you want to talk previews or no?
I don't know. Have you been watching the previews?
I did not see them tonight.
I did not see them either. It's your call, Rob. Your show.
Okay. Let's well, if we didn't see the previews, then let's just not talk about them.
All right, let's skip the preview.
Okay. Let's go to Jason Burning's question, who says, I don't like how Borowski just killed the dude. Makes me think that he's got something to hide. The guy's cell number is a little fishy, too.
Yeah, absolutely, Jason. Totally agree. I think that there's something up there. I do not trust that at all. I mean, you can't trust Peter Weller ever. I think is a good rule, and certainly as a big fan of 24, he was a huge part of season 5 of that show, one of the the Emmy-winning season of 24 as one of the main bad guys of that season. So I got my eye on you, Peter Weller, and I don't think that this guy is up to any good here on Sons of Anarchy, and we know he's a self-interested dude, so plenty of reason to be suspicious of him just so quickly shooting this this associate of his.
Yeah, it did seem very, very fast to have him shut the guy up. Very convenient.
It really escalated quickly.
Yes. Mark Solera also wants to say, thoughts on the musical score of the show in general. I love the covers they do. Age was freaking great this episode.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's one of the trademarks of the show. It's always fun to kind of get to that final montage of the episode, and you start hearing some acoustic guitar, and you're trying to kind of, before the singing comes in, like, do I know this song? Am I gonna figure it out? And then it's the Age of Aquarius, or it's Bohemian Rhapsody, and you're like, oh man, that's good, and it can kind of get you sort of pumped up for whatever is gonna come next. So yeah, I love that. I think that's one of the things that Sons does very well. I don't think it always works, but a lot of the time it does. So I'm way into it. I'm down for it.
Josh, does it take you out of it when it's Katie Seagal singing the song?
I don't really notice ever. Do you have any famous Katie Seagal singing on Sons of Anarchy examples?
Yes, that one time that I felt like it did take me out of it. I believe it's season 2 after the rape. It might have been the episode after she got raped by the neo-Nazi guys, and she's singing "Goodbye Ruby Tuesday."
Oh my gosh.
And
no, I guess I'm not a big fan of Katie Seagal the musician, so I don't really connect the two very often. So
you're not a fan, or you're just agnostic to it?
No, I'm not exposed to it. I don't know it very well. I can't pick out her singing voice in a lineup. So I guess that's good for me, because it sounds like it's distracting for you.
To me, it was distracting because it was like a Gemma storyline about Gemma going through something and also Gemma singing a song. It felt like it was a little bit, made it feel more of like a musical.
When they do the Sons of Anarchy musical episode with Katie Seagal singing and Tig playing flute, then maybe I'll be complaining. But until then, I'm okay.
Okay.
Although I don't think I'll complain. I think that would be pretty good.
Mark Jernecki wants to say, now that you mentioned Abel taking Gemma out, what if Gemma is trying to kill Wendy or hurting her and Abel considers her a second mom? Could Abel look at trying to protect his family and protect Wendy?
I think they really they have some ground to cover if they're going to boost Wendy's importance that much, don't you think? I think that they've done a good job of bringing Wendy closer into the family, and I think that they're starting to reset the table for a Jax and Wendy romance, perhaps. We got Wendy saying a few weeks ago that she still loves Jax, just knows that she can't be with him. And we got this week Jax, kissing her on the cheek, telling her she's doing a great job. So I could certainly see Jax and Wendy getting back together, even though it's not what I want to see. I can see the show moving in that direction. But I don't know. I still think that they've got a lot of work to do on that storyline, and to get us to really to buy Abel killing Gemma for Wendy. I think we need to see a few more Wendy and Abel scenes, which other than a couple here and there, it's really usually just Wendy driving Abel to daycare. So I think they really got to deepen that relationship a little bit.
Yeah, Wendy is really enjoying hanging out with the porn stars at Red Woody.
Yeah, she's good. She likes it at Red Woody.
She likes it there. One of my favorite parts of the montage tonight was the porn stars playing checkers.
Yeah, with Nero's son, right?
With Nero's son.
That was good. Well, what do you think about Nero's son? Is he safe now? Is he okay now that he's at Red Woody, or is that kid toast?
I think he's got to be okay. I think that's too much for Nero.
Well,
to lose his kid.
Well, what if we lose Nero and the kid?
I could see us losing Nero. I don't think that the show will kill the handicapped son of Nero.
I don't know. This is a dark show.
It's a dark show. That's pretty dark.
If any show's going to do it, it would be Sons of Anarchy.
Okay. Let's take one more question from Jason, and then we'll start to wrap things up. This is from Jason, who says, good old Nero with the double cross. Yes.
Yeah, it was a good move.
Wait, are we talking about the checkers game?
Is that his strategy?
That's his strategy, yes.
I didn't realize that checkers was such a strategic game.
What's the move when you are playing checkers against the porn star? You let the porn star win?
Every time.
Every time. Yeah, that's right. Like, oh my God, you beat me again.
You're so good. I had no idea.
Good. You're
and
so good.
I don't know if you know this, but I am a checkers grandmaster. So you must be very good, Miss Redwoody.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And then is that when you pull the hustle move of like, okay, why don't we play strip checkers now?
Yeah, I think it's like, well, let's up the stakes here.
Yeah, you're so good.
Yeah, and then that's when you reveal yourself to be a checkers shark.
Yes, checkers shark. Okay, Josh, let's talk about a hashtag for this episode. If people want to let us know that they're enjoying our Sons of Anarchy live.
Is it checkers shark?
Is it checkers shark? I think that's probably pretty good.
It could be Hador.
Hador, that's the other one I was thinking of earlier in the episode. What do you like?
Hador seems easier.
Hador, okay. Heydor. Okay, next week we'll be back on Wednesday morning to talk about Sons of Anarchy Season 7, Episode 6 at 10:30 a.m. on Wednesday the 15th, I believe.
That's correct.
Yes. So that's going to be very, very exciting. On Sunday night, Josh and I will be live, 10:15 p.m. Eastern?
As soon as the episode's done, you and I are getting on the air, Rob.
Boom. They don't do supersized Walking Dead episodes, right? Other than
Walking Dead tends to be blissfully short. That's one of the greatest things about the show.
Yes. Okay. Short and sweet. So we will talk about the Season 5 premiere of The Walking Dead this Sunday night on post-show recaps. Make sure you don't miss any of it. You can go ahead and subscribe to our main podcast feed as well at postshowrecaps.com/iTunes. Make sure you follow this guy on Twitter. He is a expert in many, many topics, including Sons of Anarchy and The Walking Dead. He's at Round Howard on Twitter. Of course, I'm Rob Cesternino. We love hearing from you guys in the comments as well. Josh, anything in particular you'd like to hear people weigh in on this week?
I'd like to hear some theories on who has betrayed the Sons of Anarchy. I have my eye on RoboCop. I'd like to hear what people think about that. I'd like to hear what people think about Jury and his involvement, because, Rob, I really do think you brought up an interesting point that I hadn't even considered, because Lynn seems blindsided by the fact that Jax is coming after him because of some vendetta about Tara. So why wouldn't Jury have told Lynn the whole story? Does that mean Jury is not involved? So that's a really good possibility, and I think that's something that we could hear from some people on. And the Abel killing Gemma theory, that's interesting. Is there any symbology earlier, in the show? Is there any symbolism from earlier in the series that would point to something like that? So all of those things I'd be very interested to hear from some people on.
Okay. Very, very good stuff. Very, very fun to see how it's all going to turn out. Only 8 episodes left of Sons of Anarchy. Is that right?
We're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah. It's this season is gonna move pretty fast, I think, Rob.
Only 8 episodes and 27 hours left of Sons of Anarchy. It's crazy. All right, Josh.
That's actually 127 hours.
127 hours.
Yeah.
Anyway, oh my God! And so somebody's gonna cut their arm off too. Is Chucky gonna get stuck in between a rock?
Yeah, I think that's the next step for Chucky, unfortunately.
Oh no. All right. Have a great night, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon.